takes a while to load. There we go.
Well, no.
Right. So, welcome back everybody to my Broken Jade campaign for Advanced Fighting Fantasy. This is the second session, so I think not a feedback, that's for the UK Games Expo, a recap rather is in order. Who would like to do the recap for the previous session?
As we all wait for the GM to jump in. Well, we stopped a bear we stopped a bear baiting event. We threatened the guy running the bears. I got my pocket pinched. We went looking for the pickpocket. We ended up getting split up. Some of us went to talk to the person running the pickpockets. Others went looking for the person running the bear baiting. We all got pointed in the direction of going to steal some jade, the purest green, from this very nice lady called the Vixen.
She was surprisingly nice.
She was surprisingly nice.
Rather tragic character.
And it turned out that not my characters knowing, but as we're doing a full recap, that she was expecting to be killed. In fact, when the players who did arrive there, the characters who did arrive there, she expected them to be the assassins, and was a little taken aback when it turned out, no, we were just here to nick your stuff. And they left, and we all decided to go on a nice jolly pirate boat to hide from the authorities in the meantime, and that was pretty much. That's the 30-second recap, folks.
And for those of you who don't know, this is taking place during a festival called the Festival of the Common Man in the capital of Galanteria, known as Royal Lendal. So this is a pretty big deal. But anyway, I'm going to skip forward a bit to the morning after. So you've been on the boat for the night, laid low. You didn't want to try and stay in a tavern or with anybody in particular or anything like that because you thought that would be too suspicious. You decided instead to just go to Galadrim's boat and waited out there until the morning. You sleep fairly restlessly because of all the fireworks going off all night and various celebrations going off. But in the end, you do manage to nod off. And in the morning, it's a fairly sunny day, a little bit of dilapidated cloud every so often. This will be about, say, 9 in the morning. It's pretty much dead as far as you know in the town. All you can hear is the sound of seagulls, maybe a couple of small boats passing by every so often. You get the assumption that lots of people are still sleeping off everything that they consumed the night before. In the capital of Galanteria.
Okay. I say breakfast is in order, gentlemen. We must feast.
I shall sort of pull myself to my feet. I imagine I've been sort of like slumped in a corner with various odd bits and pieces that I've procured from the Vixen's house, sort of filling my pockets. I probably had a fairly uncomfortable night since I'm sleeping on a coat that's full of forks, jewellery boxes, etc., etc. So I'll probably wake up and go, oh, yeah, now you mention it, a bit of breakfast wouldn't go amiss.
So you mean what you mean is we've heard the odd wind in the sails, the odd seagull, and the odd jangle as he turns over to his side.
That is correct.
You seem to be ringing, sir.
You what?
You're ringing, sir. You are chiming every time you move.
Well, yeah. Well, normally I'm a bit more stealthy, like, but you know, it's early morning, isn't it? I'm still tired. It's been a long night.
Yes, but I did notice that you were decidedly less chimey before you entered the Vixen's premises, and we have heard the chimes at midnight pretty much since you left.
Well, yeah, that's because I robbed a load of stuff, did I?
Ah,
From the information you also obtained the night before, Silas, and Sophie as well, although she's not here at the minute, you will assume now that the Vixen is no longer with us.
Yeah, she
Considering,
did say that she was expecting
yeah,
us to
considering,
arrive the night.
yeah, considering that she was intended to be killed at midnight.
Well, I spoke to the lady of the premises while we were in there, and she seemed quite relieved that I wasn't part of some sort of assassination squad that had been sent to do her in. All sounded fairly unpleasant and unwholesome. She practically forced the Jade into my hand, and she didn't seem that concerned about me helping myself to a few other odds and sods.
I see.
It's about that time that Gilderon will walk up. I've already been awake for a couple hours at least, maintaining my ship, and I feel quite at home here. So I probably fell asleep and slept quite a bit better than my fellow players here. But I'll sort of approach him. So you do in fact have the Jade then?
Oh, sorry, nodding off again. Yeah, I've got it about me person somewhere. Hold on a sec. Yeah, it's in here somewhere. One of these pockets. Give us a moment. Yeah, here we are. Yeah. Bring out the jade necklace that we located in the Vixen's home. So hold it up. There you go. Look at that lovely piece.
Well, if you remember correctly, it actually wasn't a necklace in the end. It may have been a necklace, but in the end it wasn't. It was in the shape of almost like it was a single piece of cut jade in the shape of a curved triangle almost.
Well, I'm going to make it into a necklace when when I get back to my shop.
It's quite big though, maybe a few inches long.
Well, it'll be a big necklace then.
A huge necklace.
Maybe a sort of a mayoral chain or something I can make out of it. You know, like the big wigs and the toffs like to wear in all the posh streets. You know, show how wealthy they are and all that. I bet if I put a nice drill through it, put a nice chain through it, I could make a fair old sum on it. All legitimately, obviously.
I have tended to
Sure.
I have observed that those who wear the most riches about their person very rarely have the greatest of riches behind them.
You what?
All show, no substance.
Well, I wouldn't claim to know about that. I am just a humble businessman trying to make ends meet. I wouldn't claim to know about all that sort of pious stuff and all that weighty matters that obviously weigh heavily on your shoulders, my friend. But all I'll say is that you may not be the most sophisticated person if you've got a lot of coin, but you can buy an awful lot of things with it. There's not much you can buy with piety, my friend.
Hmm.
Well, regardless of the moral quandary, I think, like you said, Silas, as a shop owner, you know that legitimizing this is going to be the most important thing. We can't have this traced back to us as people undoubtedly will try to. I'm sure. It seems as though this did she give you any reason as to why this League of Assassins or hitmen had been commissioned to murder her?
No, she did seem a bit reticent on that fact, to be honest. All she really told me was that she wouldn't be expecting to live through the night, and she was expecting the people who were going to do her in any moment. Thought me and the young girl were like the first wave, so to speak. She seemed almost relieved that we were just trying to rob her. But that's all she told me.
Well, at any rate, it seems as though whoever these people are, they'll probably be looking for this.
Well, no doubt. I mean, after all, it seems a bit unlikely that it's a coincidence. She should be holding on to such a fine piece as this, and then the very day that we get sort of turned on to it, that she discovers that she's been marked for death, as it were. So it seems a bit unlikely. I don't believe in coincidences. Me, all seems a bit too planned out. I reckon whoever was going to do her in was after this here little precious green triangle here.
Certainly, one thing is for absolutely certain. No matter what happens, we cannot allow this Jade item to be traced back to us. Undoubtedly, if this young woman has indeed been murdered, as she suspected she would be, then the person who has the Jade, not to mention other fine items, will be top of the list for the city guard when they go looking for her murderer.
City guard. How long have you been in this city? We've been stopping bear fights and corners and all manner of chaos. Have you even seen a city guard apart from them two drunken old sots who were by the gate? And we made short work of them, didn't we?
They'll have something to answer for, won't they? I suppose.
Well, yeah, I almost feel sorry for them, to be honest. You know, just trying to do their job, trying to make a living, but you know, we had to get past. Seemed the most quickest way to do them without like knocking them out or rendering them insensible or anything like that. But don't worry about getting rid of the Jade anyway. The person who like turned me on to like where it was, I was going to take it to them and get them to like fence it off or do whatever they're doing with it.
They sound equally as dangerous, perhaps, but I suppose that is our best and only bet, really.
Well, the way I see is that they've probably got the necessary contacts to fence it off. They're obviously ready for it. Don't get me wrong, I could muster some contacts to do it for us, but it'd take me a bit of time. I wasn't really prepared for it. It's all a bit spur at the moment. They're obviously waiting for it. They've obviously set up ready for it. They could probably shift it quicker.
True.
And well, if we get a generous fee for finding it, well, I'm not going to complain.
True, and to be fair, we're the ones that are hopping on their game here. So I suppose it'd be best to make friends and not enemies.
That's right. I mean, they're obviously some sort of a organisation. We don't want to charge in and and just start making ourselves enemies, especially if they turn out to be like some massive like thieves guild affiliate or something like that. You never know where it'll end up. Best play it a bit cautiously for now, and then work out where we are, and then we can see what we're going to do.
Well, I would suggest caution. I place this thought towards all our brothers here. Is it possible, and I throw this out merely as conjecture, is it possible that those who sought to assassinate this young woman always had in mind to blame the thieves? And should we go back to these thieves with this Jade, they are more than likely to turn us in to powerful people with money who could definitely pay for us to be quietly removed or publicly removed as the killers, whilst the real murderers walk away scot-free.
I'm not saying that that's not possible. However, let's face it, it does seem a little bit unlikely to go to such extreme lengths when they could have just strolled into the building. And like I say, the woman was practically giving it away. They could have just walked in and gone, "We'll have that Jade, thanks, and we won't kill you." And she'd have probably give it them. Why go toward a rigmarole again? Us involved.
Why indeed? I do honestly believe that it was more here than merely a piece of jade.
As you are all discussing these endeavours and what to do with the jade, you hear 3 loud knocks at the door of the boat.
That Jade is up my sleeve.
It seems as though we have a visitor. Go out and see who it is.
All right, well, keep your wits about you. You never know.
So is it just you who's going to have a look?
I'll be sort of peeking through the door to like watch him. I'm not going out, I know.
Find a portcullis.
As you open the door to the boat, you are greeted by a rather large-looking man and two what appear to be henchmen standing behind him. He has long, sleek brown hair and a bit of a silver thread of hair going through as well. And he says to you, "Good morning. I'm very sorry to bother you at this hour. I'm sure you have been up for a long time for the Festival of the Common Man. However, this is a standard procedure, and I'm hoping you will allow me to do this. But is this your boat, perchance?"
Yes, I've only came into it about a year or so ago, but the vessel is indeed mine.
He nods and starts reaching into his coat, and he brings out a small notepad and starts taking notes. And he said, "Yes, you'll forgive me, but as I said, this is a standard procedure for any boat or vessel of any kind coming through Royal Lendal during large events such as the Festival of the Common Man. We go round and make sure that there are no, how do I say this without sounding too untactful, unfit magical practitioners on board."
Well, that's fair enough, I suppose. All for the safety of the common man, I suppose.
Would we be able to come in and have a little look around?
Yes, but by all means. I'm just at this point I start sort of behind the door, motioning with my hand. For I don't know if the other two are within earshot to hear what's going on. I assume they are. But
I was peering through the door, so hopefully we've heard what was going on.
I am going to go into my backpack and take out my my tome, my holy book, and open it up at a random page and start reading.
Okay.
Down and reading as they enter.
Whereas I am going to look around. I'm hoping, since he's got a bit of a pirate flavour to him, the captain of the ship, I'm hoping that I'm going to be lucky enough that it's one of those pirate ships that has like the additional sort of like smuggler's compartments in it, and I'm going to start looking around for one of them that I can secrete myself in.
The Millennium Falcon, yep.
All right, I'll get to that in a sec. So you allow the 3 men to come in, do you?
Indeed, I do. Yes.
Okay.
Well,
do you have the map of the ship? Because if not, I'll look it up myself.
I do not.
Oh, okay. Don't worry then. So they slowly come into the main hallway, and the main leader looks around for a little bit and says, "Oh, sorry, I have not introduced myself. My name is Xavier Creekwater, and these are just some lackeys who make sure that I don't get hurt by people who try and escape. All standard procedures."
Fair enough. Indeed, there are many miscreants in the cities, even more on the seas, I should know. My name is Gilderon. I am the captain of Coraline, the Jewel of the Sea. And, yes.
So, I should probably explain to you what this whole procedure is. Of course we allow magic in Royal Lendor, that is something that goes without saying. There is no problem with that at all. But in particular, we received word of some strange goings-on last night that involved magic done by somebody not of a specific school of Royal Lendor. And that is the kind of thing we are looking for, you see. Looking for people who do magic through solo tuition, illegally, because of course that could lead to something quite dastardly. You understand.
Indeed. I have a priest here on board, although I doubt that he would be the culprit in question.
Oh, not at all. No, priestly work is something that we look up to, in fact.
Other than that, he's the only one on board right now, other than a few members of my regular crew.
Could we have a little chat to him, maybe, please?
I'm sure he would oblige you that.
Okay, so you lead him to Gil, do you?
Galen.
Galen, sorry. Gil,
Yeah.
Galen. I get you
Not
too.
be gilded quite yet.
I assume you're not hiding, are you? Galen?
No, I'm sitting on some sort of seat or bench in the main area. I'm reading my book quite studiously.
All right.
Oh, good morning, gentlemen.
He immediately holds out a hand for you to shake and says, "Good morning, priest. I see you're an elf as well. That is wonderful. What is your name?"
My name is Galen, Brother Galen.
Well, greetings, Brother Galen. What brings you to these parts of Royal Lendor?
The work of a missionary is never ending.
Ah, of course. It is one of those ongoing projects of yours, and your god is never fully appeased, I take it, so you'd like to have a lifelong goings-on with them. Forgive me, I may be speaking out of tone.
The work of bringing peace to this vast and noble nation is a long and arduous, noble effort that I take with humble heart.
He nods and seems to look very, very interested in what you have to say. But then he turns back to Gil and says to him, "Do you have any others on board?"
Any of what?
Any other people on board?
A couple of my crew members. None of them have any magical capabilities. That I can assure you. Just simple seafaring men. You can talk to them if you wish. Other than that, nope.
That would be very good, thank you. Unfortunately, we cannot take it on just words alone. We have to see everybody and assess them ourselves. Standard procedure.
Sure, yeah.
So who do you show Xavier to?
I'll take him to my first mate. He's sort of a small, squatty man. Is pretty bald. He's perpetually sunburned because, well, he works on a ship. His name is Henry Higgins, and he's sort of my first mate, my mouthpiece here on the ship. Yeah, of course he's just a human. This is Henry Higgins, my first mate.
Ah, yes, well met. You seem to have a good captain of the ship. Guys, I'm really sorry. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Well, I hope I've managed to find that smuggler's hidey hole by now.
I hope you have as well, or we're in deep shit.
So
Well,
I'm
to be
actually with these guys now, am I?
We're not entirely sure. We'd have to check with Jenny. I think we're all going to have started on the boat. I'm not 100%.
That's what I was thinking, because I wasn't with you last time.
Yeah, the way that it ended, Jenny's actually moved it on to the following morning, so one can only assume that in the interim you've done what you wanted to do, and we've caught up with you, and we've all went to the boat.
All right, okay.
Like I say, probably best to just check with Jenny when she gets back. But
That's what I'm thinking.
That seems the most plausible, though. Yes, I sure hope we don't have to get some blood on our hands here. That would.
well, I'm
really-
actually hoping not to hide myself, just my coat that contains all of my loot.
Sure.
Right, sorry guys, do go on.
Quick question for you before you go any further. Am I here or am I not here?
Well, I left it quite open-ended for you, so obviously I didn't expect you to be later than anybody else, but where would you like to be at this point?
Just
You can either
stick as
be-
with it. It's going to be easier.
Stick with the people. All right, so yeah. Okay, then you're here at the minute. Are you gonna engage with Xavier and his goons?
No, I'm just going to watch Xavier and his goons at this present point in time. Particularly his goons, just in case anything does go down.
I'm hoping the fact that they seem to have a certain respect for the clergy might buy us some time.
Mm-hmm. So he basically goes around introducing himself to everybody and assesses himself whether you're the kind of person he's looking for, but he doesn't seem to get that kind of vibe off you. In particular, Galen even, sorry, because you're a priest. However, he hasn't seen Sophie yet. I'm going to assume that Sophie is still sleeping at this point in her cabin.
And he's not see Sophie.
Say that again, sorry.
He's not going to see Sophie.
If it's easier, do you want me to assume that I've grabbed Sophie and I'm trying to stash her away with myself?
Very much.
Because I noticed your facial expression when Xavier first knocked on the door. So he eventually gets everyone back together and says, well, if you do see anybody of the description I'm looking for, maybe someone who casts unruly magic or dark magic, or maybe even has some kind of affiliation with dark elves, then by all means do come and let me know should you have the time, because that would be a great help.
Yes, I believe it will help all of us if we can find these rapscallions as soon as possible. Oh, I certainly don't want to cross swords with them, but...
Oh, no, not at all. We only need information. We don't wish you to actually engage with them, especially as they might be quite powerful. But I do have one final question. I got a lot of word last night from people during the festival that they had seen a small girl, maybe it was a boy, we're not entirely sure, a young child casting really quite a significantly powerful spell, which, as you can probably imagine, is quite a strange thing to happen.
Like that. We never saw anything like that whatsoever. We did take chase after a small child who stole from the good priest here.
Yes, but I admit I do not remember any children performing magic.
Well, this wasn't any ordinary child, maybe not just a simple pickpocket. They were cloaked, and they had a certain mystique about them. They liked to apparently murmur things to themselves before casting. And this child who has disappeared into the city, or maybe even further afield, we now even call them the Bear Slayer, because, as you've probably heard, they cast a spell in the shape of a bear and actually slayed a bear, which no child of that age could surely do, even if they are talented. And that is the kind of thing that we're looking for.
It's
Like that, yeah.
it's a great coincidence that you came to me, because I was one of the contestants in that fight. Of course, yes, I was the. Well, I don't know if you've heard. I sort of proudly open a drawer on my ship and pull out the shirt that I was wearing. I don't know if you heard, but I was there. I took a blow from the bear and bounced back. No big deal. But yet I digress. I did witness, of course, this. It was a bit hard not to notice this child, and after the fight, I was quite disconcerted. I approached her. She seemed reluctant to tell me anything, and yet she did tell me that she was headed out of town before the sun would be up. She would be on her way.
How close are you to me?
As in me,
How
or
close is Galen to Johan?
okay?
I'm talking to Xavier, and I assume relatively close to you because you were just addressing him too.
Your phone. In.
You keep cutting up, Michael. We can't fully tell what you're saying.
Your foot suddenly feels pain. Shut up.
The age-old signal.
All right. Well.
The secret sign to shut up. Right. Could you roll me a con check, please, Gil?
Sure. I mean, a bunch of people are going to witness that I did see this girl, so it's going to get back to me eventually anyway. I might as well give them a bit of truth with this lie.
And sail away from here.
Am I adding my skill to it, or am I trying to roll under?
Do you actually have the con skill?
Yes.
For starters. In that case, yes, you add the dice roll to your con and to your skill as well. So you're rolling over.
15.
Okay. Xavier seems to take that in and says to you, okay, well, do you remember whereabouts out of town she went?
I believe she was headed east, perhaps northeast, if what she said was correct. I took it all with a grain of salt because she was a child, although it seemed something strange was about her. She did mention traveling with another group of people. I know she's, of course, not alone.
Northeast, that's interesting. You got to realize this is very, very important, and it's really quite amazing that the gods have allowed us to find you here. So if you could give us any more details of whereabouts she could have gone, that would be wonderful.
I really wish I could tell you more, but I'm afraid I've done all I can. I say as my foot stings with pain, and I sort of glare at the bounty hunter.
Am I still close by?
I thought you were sitting down with a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I still within earshot?
I'm gonna assume that all of you have been brought together because Xavier wants to see everybody and kind of keep an eye on them.
Are you referring to the young girl Ah, yes, I do remember her.
This is very interesting that both of you can remember her directly, and it's definitely a she, you say. Do you have a name?
Let me be absolutely honest with you, my good man.
Of course.
When you see such power, you rarely wish to know a name, only to know that you're nowhere near it.
That is true, but a name is certainly important if we wish to actually seek her out and arrest her.
All I remember specifically was her talking about releasing the cubs. Something about going to a forest?
Hmm. Perhaps she headed up the River East towards Fickling, or maybe even Bryce. That would be even more interesting. Perhaps she's getting ready to flee the country.
If you do go after her, my good man, I would recommend keeping your wits about you, as the priest said she is, well, I mean, she destroyed a bear.
And she definitely went northeast as far as you can tell. What was her method of transportation?
I can only assume a caravan of some sort. She said that she had no mother and no father, but she traveled with a group of people, perhaps gypsies, perhaps travelers that from around the country that came for the festival of the common man. Although why she would want to get out of town so quick before the festival was over, these are things I don't know. Like the brother said, it was a fairly uneasy talking to her, and I'm sure a great many people took note of her, for it's not every day that you see a child fighting a bear, let alone a child that can shoot magic ethereal bears at other bears.
Okay, I don't want to keep you much further because obviously it is still quite early morning. But I do have one more question for you. Why do you think she told you all this information? Surely there must be some kind of connection between you and her for her to come out with this whole story of her motives.
Well, I also fought there with an old man. I wasn't as concerned as it was a bit strange why this old codger would be in a bear baiting fight. However, I was more concerned with this girl. Why she was there? I'm sure I wasn't the only one. That is the only thing connecting us, is that we were both contestants in this fight, and I thought that perhaps she could need some help in the world, or a friend, although it seems as though she's perhaps not all that she appears.
Maybe it's just elvish curiosity, but I should warn you that if we do find out that you have a greater link to this young girl than we first thought, Master Elf, then there will be consequences. So we will take our leave for now, but we may be back.
Fair warning, come back as often as you want. I can assure you I want nothing to do with anyone of any magical caliber such as that. I hope that you, if you do find this girl, that, well, she doesn't harm you, and I wish to see you again one day.
That is fair enough. He gestures to his goons who have been just standing around surveying the scene, one of them keeping a lookout outside, and they march off back into the streets of the city. So,
I think we may have bought ourselves some time.
Yeah.
But not a lot.
can I just ask what Sophie and Silas are doing at this point?
I am largely keeping, if assuming we've found a sort of smuggler's sort of compartment that we can hide in, I will largely be keeping very quiet and waiting for them to tell me that this silver-haired person has left, so that I can come out.
Okay.
Otherwise, he might take my shinies off me.
You'll leave not 3 times to let them know that they're out.
Yeah, you also hear a dull thudding going along the wooden docks outside, which you assume to be them leaving.
Okay, I'll wait for a few minutes and then I'll sort of lift in the lid up of the smuggler's compartment. I'll sort of peer out and look about just to make sure. Then once we've determined that they have in fact gone, I'll start climbing out of the smuggler's compartment. No doubt making a horrendous jangling sound as I do so.
Sophie also hops out and does these like over-exaggerated stretches. Thank God! I thought he'd never leave.
Yeah, that was a close one, all right, Sophie. That was a close one.
Why were they looking for me?
Well, you heard the man. It's not every day a young child like takes on a bear in the middle of like a populated, very busy festival. I know there's like entertainment on, but that's a bit out of the normal. So it's obviously caught their attention.
Especially when she beats it.
Well, yeah, there is that.
Well, it
Question,
is the
Sophie,
first.
why aren't they looking for you?
Why aren't I?
What?
He wants to know what if you can think of any reason why they're looking for you.
I just got in. I came to the festival with this traveling
Where were you
caravan
before
and.
What school of magic do you operate within, Sophie? They said that they were looking for someone that uses an unrecognized school of magic.
What's a skull of magic?
Well, that answers that question then.
Oh dear, what can the matter be?
Johnny is not at the fair.
Silas.
Right, so a school of magic is most people. They have to like spend like years and years and years learning how to like do all these otherworldly things, these magical things. But some people, I had a bit of a natural talent myself from when I was like nothing like yours. Don't get me wrong, but I had a little bit of a natural talent. Some people have a bigger natural talent, it would seem. But they normally like to try and like cram everyone into like one of these schools, and make sure they're training because you might be too dangerous if you started doing stuff on your own.
Well, I guess I got private tutoring.
Well, whatever you got, it beats spending like the next 60, 70 years of your life like learning how to do it in some form of like formal academy. In case you can't tell, I'm not a fan.
Sounds boring.
Yeah, it is well boring.
Sophie,
Yes?
where were you before you came to the fair? And what did you do there?
Where was I? I was on the road for a while. And I was at a few small towns that are on their way here. Like I said, I usually travel with people when I can.
And Sophie, did you exhibit any of the same talents that you've been exhibiting in front of us?
Only when I need to. I mean, to be fair, I was fighting a bear.
Silas,
Yes.
your contacts.
Yes.
Contact them. Do not go through these people. If these guards are asking questions, the fact that she came back with us, the fact that she has been with us, will no doubt get to those people who we have been dealing with. If we have to have any chance of getting out of here without raising suspicions, we must go through other channels to get rid of your loot.
Whoa. Let me get this straight. If I'm correct in what I think you're saying, what you are saying to me, Brother Galen, is you're saying that I should attempt to cut out the people who led to me getting the Jade in the first place. You should be
Yeah, why not?
ashamed. You should be ashamed of yourself. Ain't you ever heard of no honour among thieves?
No.
Nope.
You missed boat sail.
What I'm saying is,
Guild, can this boat sail?
Yes, my boat is
Let's
functional.
sail.
Why would he keep a non-functional boat?
Well,
Yes, sir.
obviously it seems as though we're at a bit of a crossroads here. Some of us wish to skip out of
Yes, you want the
town.
guard to come back in a very short time. Because I don't think I believed anything you said. Set sail now.
Yeah, he does have
Well,
a point, to be fair.
But
let's zoom out.
But hang on a minute. If we have the city guard coming after us, as well as a league of assassins, as well as a thieves guild, I mean,
It's called an adventure. Set sail.
sure. So, is this unanimous? Then everyone wants to set sail.
No. I don't want to set sail. I've got all my roots here. I've got my shop. I've got everything.
You always come back when the stuff's died down.
Yeah, and in the meantime, who's going to feed the people who rely on me, eh?
They can feed themselves, I'm sure you've talked to very good trade.
I can't just up and abandon the people who rely on me.
Of course you can. Let the people stand up for themselves.
Is that another knock on the boat?
That is another knock on the door, this time a less bold, more rapidly knock.
What's next? The marching band?
Well, I go to open the door, sort of taking slow steps to give, I suppose, anyone that wants to hide time to hide. I don't know if anyone does or whatever.
Open the door.
This is starting to get like a very famous scene from Life of Brian. Anyway. So is it just you again who goes to open the door?
Oh, I'll go with him.
Okay.
Are there any little girls here today?
You see Boyce at the door.
Quality.
Ah.
And
I don't.
of course you don't know Boyce, but obviously Silas recognises his voice.
Right.
Boyce sees Silas and immediately goes up and gives him a big hug round the waist.
And calm down, boys, calm down.
And says, "Good to see you, Silas. Do you have it? You know what? Pericles is getting a little bit impatient. I think he wants it now."
Well, it's funny you should say it. I was just this low for a bit, God, I can't be too careful. But I was just this second about to leave the boat and go and take it to Pericles himself. And yes, I do have it. It's in my coat. And keep your little hands away from my coat.
Oh, you mean I can't see it for myself? Just a little look.
Hold on a sec. Let me find it. It's in here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. Look, there it is.
His mouth drops as he stares at it. It's the most beautiful thing he's ever seen.
Right. Well, that's enough of that. What say? Since I don't want to be luring any sort of unwanted city guard attention to my good friend's boat here. What say that?
Thank
No. At least I can do after you put me up for the night and you give me breakfast and all that. But what say I divest myself of this here thing, drop it off with Pericles. I'll take my share. Come back here, meet up with you when it's all over. Lovely, have a bit of dinner. Everyone's happy.
Sounds good. Well, for obvious reasons, I'm of the opinion that it would be best for Sophie to probably stay on board. I don't know. I don't know if you wish for someone to accompany you for safety reasons, or perhaps it would send the wrong impression if you came back with yet another person.
I was there the first time, so if anyone's gonna protect Silas, it's gonna be me. Sophie cracks her knuckles.
On the boat.
Normally,
Get everybody home.
Normally, I would be very grateful for your offer of protection, Sophie. However, our friend the captain is quite right. With all the attention, we can't very well be trooping you through the centre of town where there's all manner of city guard and whatnot, can we? So much as I would love the pleasure of your company, I think it's probably best that you stay on the boat. I'm hoping I can go and drop this off quickly, be back here. You never know, they might have a bit more work for us if we get on their good side. You know, one hand washes the other and all that.
Sure. Perhaps we should even perhaps we should even go to the measure of perhaps disguising Sophie as a boy, cutting her hair, putting her in some different clothes could be prudent.
That's not a bad idea, no.
It's not bad at all.
Right. Well, can I leave you lot to sort that out while I go and drop this thing off, and I'll be back here before you know it. I'll leave most of my stuff here apart from the army in question, you know. So if the worst does happen to me, and well, I didn't want to think about it, to be honest. I'm hoping your convoluted and slightly paranoid, if you don't mind me saying so, brother, scenario does not come to pass. But if it should, at least you'll find all them things I took and whatnot tucked away in your compartment, and you'll be able to get your recompense for all the breakfast and all that food that I've eaten while I've been here. Very, very nice too.
It's only extremely paranoid and highly convoluted if I'm wrong.
Well, let's hope I'm wrong.
So, from what I can gather, Silas is just going alone.
I really think you should take someone just in case.
Unless the bounty hunter wants to provide some muscle.
Okay, bounty hunter at a thieves' den, not a good idea.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Otherwise, I'd love to have a double-armed bloke like him with me. To be honest, he looks like he can handle himself. But like you say, I wouldn't want to put him at any professional or what was that word? Quandary. That was it. Yeah.
Gilderan.
Anybody recognizing me? That's the real reason.
Oh yeah, there is that.
Gilderan, I'm sure you have a good man amongst your ship's crew that would be able to accompany this individual.
Indeed, if you want a bit of muscle, I can provide you.
Oh, so what are you saying? I get my own goons? Oh, I've always fancied it. I've always fancied having my own goons.
Indeed.
It'd be like I've hit the big time.
I just hope that they're sober enough from last night's festivities.
Well, I'll blame them if they're not.
How about I make a roll for that?
Sounds fair.
They're all right. They're not brilliant. They've got quite bad headaches, but they're okay to to go off. In fact,
One
they
amongst,
say they'd appreciate the fresh air.
sorry, is the one amongst the crew that looks as if he's been knocked about a couple of times, but he's still big enough and hard enough to look after himself.
Yeah.
Send him with him.
He'll be glad, isn't he?
Okay, so what are the rest of you going to do while Silas is gone?
I am going to spend the first chunk of my day in silent contemplation as I try to come to terms with the events of the last 24 hours, where I have gone from missionary to taking being accessory to theft, a possible pawn in a very, very possibly convoluted game of power struggles in the city, whilst we're trying to protect a girl who could probably blow our brains out simultaneously by blinking her eyes. So I'm just going to come to terms with that for the first chunk of the day. Peace-loving man I am.
By the way, Sophie, your magic points are now completely replenished now that you've had a good night's sleep.
Yay.
And you also, I believe, picked up something food-wise in the market the night before.
Yep.
So that's good enough for me. So let's jump to Silas. So Boyce tugs you on the coat saying, come on, he's waiting for you.
All right, calm down. I'm not strong. You all right? Lead the way.
Sorry, I'm just really excited.
Well,
This is gonna be
that's all
great.
right. Bit of youthful enthusiasm's all good in that.
So he leads you back to the guild with the secret door and the stone and yada yada yada.
Yep.
And it's almost like you'd never left. Pericleus is fast asleep again, needs to be woken up. You're starting to wonder how on earth he actually functions the guild by sleeping so much, but there you go. So when he comes round, he says to you, Silas, I believe this is where I should ask you the question. Have you got the prize?
I shall reach into my pocket and, with a flourish, produce the Jade item in question, so having it sitting on the palm of my hand. I go, of course I have.
Well done indeed. That was a good feat, what you did for me. I think I should bestow a little reward upon you.
Well, I would most gratefully accept any form of remuneration.
He clicks his fingers twice and somebody comes up to you and gives you a small bag of gold.
Oh, lovely.
Which,
gold is my favourite colour.
which equates to 15 gold pieces. You have to understand, though, that this is a very small piece of the puzzle. But now that you have actually shown this to me, there is no doubt that this is not only from the vixen's own hand, but that the fox is definitely involved in this. Did you manage to find out any information from her before you stole this?
Well, not very different than the fact that she was expecting to meet an untimely demise that very night.
Ah, yes.
She seemed almost resigned to the fact. I was expecting that there may have been some unpleasantness, but no, she seemed entirely not concerned with myself. She was more worried about her impending demise.
That is very interesting. There are spies around, though. None of us do understand something else.
Well,
something else, maybe trying to pick off significant, noble people with lots of things hidden in their pocketbook.
I don't know if this is of any interest to you, Pericleus. Perhaps you already know, but I did hear from the mouth of one of the senior guardsmen this morning that apparently there's been some trouble with dark elves and dark magic users recently
Dark elves
in
in
the city.
Lendl?
Well, that's what they said. I'm just repeating what I heard. I can't speak for the truth of it. But this senior guardsman, big bloke, silver hair, I think he said his name was Creekwater or something.
Creekwater.
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard of that name a little. It rings a bell. What was his first name?
Somewhat funny. It began Xavier. That was it.
Xavier. Yes, that does ring a bell. I think I may have known him back in the day, maybe a couple of decades ago. I wonder what he's doing now. Going around finding dark elves in Royal Lendl. That's very odd. You don't get any of them in here. It's far too open and all surface based. Not enough tunnels for them to dig into. Not enough underground space for them. They're much more likely to be out further south near the Witchtooth line.
Well, all I can tell you is that he was out and about with his squadron. Said they were looking for people using unauthorized dark magics and that may have ties to these dark elves. I can't claim to know a lot about the dark elves myself. I've never even seen one as far as I'm aware. However, you did mention that this item I've given you was just a small piece of a larger puzzle. Well, I like to think that I've proven my qualifications by retrieving that little piece of the puzzle for you. Well, me and a small team of lively-looking lads, we've got a fairly broad skill base. I was wondering perhaps if you were looking for someone to help with you assembling this particular puzzle, perhaps in return for further monetary remunerations, we could lay our services out, so to speak, hash out a deal between ourselves.
Right.
How's that sound to you?
I understand you perfectly. Well, from what I can gather with our priorities, and he opens up a big piece of parchment with various scribblings on. He says, from what I can gather, the best chance we have to find out more about the foxes now. So do you think you could go and do a bit of that for me? Find out a bit of information about her associate?
Well, I'm sure that we could certainly have a little bit of a look around, see what we can see.
And we could always do a bit of research ourselves on this Jade.
Yeah, I did mean to ask as well, and I'll sort of lean a bit closer and sort of look around. And please forgive me if this sounds a little bit turn. I don't mean it to. I just like to. I'm a plain speaking gent. I like to know where I stand. I was wondering, are you and your people guild affiliated?
Ooh. A dog goes off in the background. Do you mean that we are, say, an official organisation, or that we have official partners?
Well, let's not beat around the bush. You and me both know that once you get above a certain level, like minor pickpocketing and things like that, once you get above a certain level, you've got to make sure you give a cut to the right people. The people who know people, the people who are in charge. Otherwise, you're liable to find yourself somewhere unpleasant and quite dead. And see, I'm ever so keen to avoid that. So I'm just checking. So obviously, I've not yet achieved the hallowed membership of any official guild yet myself. But if I am to engage in such an enterprise, I wouldn't want to be putting anyone's nose out of joint or anything like that.
Well, I don't believe you have anything to worry about. Not many know of our existence, and we are such a wide group of people that not many like to try and get in with the wrong motives, so to speak.
Okay, that's fine then. So one last thing before I go and I start looking into this information with my boys, like you've been asking. What sort of remuneration are we looking at? Let's say we do find this information about a fox. Obviously, I've got to sell this to my boys. I mean, this 15 gold piece is nice as though it is, and I appreciate it very much. Isn't going to stretch an awful long way between me and my boys. It's a nice little opener. Don't get me wrong.
No, this is, as I said, a smaller thing you did for us, and I was hoping you would do something on a larger scale, and it's good that we're talking in the same language, if you see what I mean.
Well,
so you
we're
will be
obviously
paid.
both businessmen.
You will be paid more greatly for this work that you do. Maybe even for your entire team as well. Maybe a place to live.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Well, I shall get back to the boys now, and we'll contact you when we know any further information. How's that sound, Pericles?
That sounds very, very good indeed. Back in a sec.
Go Team Thief.
So here's the thing. When the GM comes back, we'll all hide.
Let me just look in this smuggler's compartment under my table.
So it sounds like we're all sort of agreed. We're to use the old line from Lethal Weapon. We're going to get the flock out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've got a feeling that it's all about to kick off.
Mm-hmm. It got very convoluted in a very short period of time.
Yeah, I was a little worried that we were being dropped right in the middle of something very, 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 a small cog in a big wheel. And I think that big wheel's right into us.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't been pointed in any definitive direction yet as to where this fox may be, though, have we?
I don't think so.
Check my notes.
We know who he is, though, right?
Yes.
We
Alright,
also know
so...
that,
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say we also know that the grouchy old man that our bounty hunter, priest, and pirate captain spoke to, the ringmaster, if you will, of their entertainment, said he'd received a letter from the fox, and apparently he lived in some of the trading houses across the river, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Well, he pointed us in the direction that that would be the best. He wouldn't be called out definitively. All he said was that's where I'd go looking. Essentially.
Mm.
More than likely to be there than anywhere.
Yeah.
Jenny, what did I find out about the fox? Because I was looking into that.
Right, I was thinking about this. You managed to find out a small amount, but a lot of it was extremely secretive. You went to various libraries, asked scribes to maybe obtain you some information, and you managed to work out that the fox is possibly a leader or somebody very high up in a very complex network in the city.
Is it politics or is it something else?
You think that he may have been fleeting from one thing to another, so maybe he worked in politics for a bit, maybe he worked in more cutthroat businesses. He seems to be somebody who likes to merge and fleet between things very fluidly.
So is he a businessman or?
You don't know.
I don't know that bit.
So I'm going to jump back to the other 4
Okay.
on the boat. So it would now be about midday. And some of you, of course, have been, like Galen, have been trying to contemplate why this is happening, keep calm about it, and so on. The others didn't really elaborate on what they're doing. Are you all definitely preparing to set sail at this point?
No, I'm prepared to get out of here.
I know you are, but what about
Yeah.
the others?
I have my men preparing to leave harbor at a moment's notice. But yeah. So I approach Sophie. So what do you? How do you feel about disguising yourself, Sophie? It seems like it may be the best decision.
Well, I don't
could
see
be
the
fun.
point if we're gonna leave.
Fair enough, I suppose.
The disguise would help if we end up in another place and they're getting word to another area.
Yeah, it's a case of better safe than sorry, I suppose. The word probably won't travel too fast, but eventually it will catch up with us.
Galen, can I ask you, since you're the captain of the ship, where you're intending, if anything, to set sail to?
Gil.
Gil, sorry.
He's gay. It's all right. Everyone's
get that
doing
right.
that.
Two elves
Well-
with similar names. Who would have
How
thought?
about I share the map for you so you can have a look yourself?
Sure. That sounds good.
So Royal Lendl is down here, and the River Ede is very, very big, so you could easily head, the river's flowing south, so you could easily head south to about Cumbleside before it will become too narrow
Jenny,
and
is any-
precarious for you to travel. Say that again, sorry?
Is any way of making that enlarged?
If you just click on my box, then it should enlarge.
Aha.
Yes. South sounds good. I don't want to go northeast, obviously, because that's the direction the red herring is. So south sounds like probably the best bet.
Okay. Let me just get back onto me. There we go. Okay, so are you going to prepare anything? Maybe get things ready before Silas comes back, or what are you going to do? Are you going to think of leaving by a specific time?
Yeah, well, I figure that if Silas isn't back in 2 hours, that we'll have to decide our course of action to seek him out or whatever. Hopefully he'll be back within the 2 or 3 hour window. But if he's not, then we'll start making decisions. But until then, yeah, I'm just crossing my eyes. Dotting my I's and crossing my T's, making sure that everything's where it needs to be. Ships do need constant maintenance. So.
Okay. Let's see. Johan, could you do me a city law check, please?
No, yeah, sure.
Considering you're well-travelled and a bounty hunter.
Yeah, I've just got to remember how this works again. 5 and 9. And my city law is, I believe, just bear with me. City law is, that's 17.
You be rolling under this time. So what's your skill plus your city law?
Okay, I didn't get anything. Roll underneath my skill. No.
What's your skill plus your city law?
My skill is 7, and I've got a +1 in city law. That's an 8. That's a 9.
Okay. Okay. Unfortunately, you don't know too much about the area, so.
Is there any way to be lucky in this?
Sorry?
Is there any way to get a lucky roll?
If you get a double 1 in your case, then you would have automatically succeeded.
So you can't use luck to do another dice roll?
I'll go on then, since I'm in a good mood, why don't you make a luck roll?
And is it just 2d6 not the luck, or how would you work this? I've never done it before.
It's 2d6 rolling under your luck.
Under my luck, okay. Yeah, definitely. I've got to look at 12.
Okay, so I'm going to rephrase that. Even though you're not too familiar with the area, something at the back of your mind, maybe somebody has told you various information, but from what you can gather, if you're going to actually sail out of the city via the River Ede, you would need to head via the Royal Palace and then take the fork down the River Cumble. So you would be going through the very, very rich part of the city.
And at the risk of a terrible pun, we really don't want to be fucking doing that.
Okay, I didn't catch the end of that. We're going to the Royal. We've got to go through the Royal Palace area, and then after that, you just went quiet, Jenny. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I just said that you would be heading through the very, very rich part of town.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of religious monuments, colleges of various types. It's pretty high profile there.
Okay, maybe we don't want to be sailing that way. Can we not sail in a different way? I say it again.
You can.
Something troubling you, my friend?
Explain the reason what you've just.
Well,
maybe sail a different way.
I can lend you some
This is
of
going to
my.
lead with us to everybody that we don't want to.
Listen, the best way to do this is to go right underneath their nose. We can't go we can't go northeast. That is the way. That's the way that we've told them that to go looking. So I mean, you know, would you rather send them the direction that they're going to be looking, or would you rather spend a couple hours sliding by their houses?
You think they're going to buy that you go in that direction? If you're not realized, they know that it's a lie.
In other words, they may very well go south, thinking that we've deliberately sent them the wrong direction, in which case, if we go down south as well, they may very well be sitting there waiting on us. In which case, we could double bluff them. We told them that she was going northeast, and they go, that must be a lie. They're going south, in which case we do go northeast.
And to be honest, when that guy left here, I really don't think he believed anything you said.
Oh, he believed me. He's
No, he didn't.
He's an honorable man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You have to when you lie to people, you have to squeeze the lie in between two truths. It makes it a lot more palatable than
your lie didn't work.
A blunt lie. For example, if I denied ever knowing the girl, it would, as people in the city would tell them, and it would come back to me that how would he not know that girl? He fought a bear alongside her.
Your lie did not work. I'm sorry to tell you this.
I think you're
quite
paranoid, my friend.
Sorry, I was gonna.
Kept us alive this long.
Sorry, I keep talking over people. I keep thinking that you've stopped when you actually haven't. It doesn't matter. It's probably a delay of the internet. I was going to ask Gil. This is probably a bit of a random question, but have you got any windows on your boat? If so, what do they look like?
Yeah, I've got a few windows. I mean, the boat's not huge, but within a couple, within the bowels of the ship, there are a couple of windows. They look fairly like I don't know, just like regular shop windows, like you might see on land. Just a pane.
So they're like a proper window pane made of glass, sort of thing, like that.
Yes. I don't know how accurate that is within the within a setting for a ship, but yeah. So
no, considering it's a pretty.
Feel free to correct me when.
Considering it's a pretty posh ship, I'll go with that. So at that point, You hear the sound of one of your windows smashing.
Oh boy.
Wasn't me.
You head
Fucking
over.
A.
You head
Dave?
over to where the sound came from, and you notice a rather large stone, maybe the size of a fist, that appears to have been thrown through the window pane, and there is a small piece of parchment wrapped around it.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Well,
I look out the
obviously,
window to see.
yes. Yeah, obviously, I'll look out the window or scramble up to the top of the deck. I mean, to see if there's anyone or anything to see.
Okay, can you make me an awareness roll, please?
Sure. And then I add the spot skill to it, or?
Yeah, you can do, and it's going to be rolling over.
Alright, should I make the same roll since I'm looking out the window? I mean,
If you want to, yeah.
okay.
Got
And it's going to
18.
be a big modifier in your favor because it's daylight.
Okay, well, I needed to roll. Was it under? Is it skill plus
This
spot?
this was over.
Okay, well, my
So
skill plus
again,
spot
for
is
over, you add your skill and your spot to your roll, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So you add everything together.
Okay, so that's an 11.
Okay. So,
Yeah, 16.
Gil, you can see posted outside on the docks, maybe behind a few crates or looking out from a corner of a street, some rather shifty looking people, quite similar looking to the goons that Xavier brought in before. And on that note, I'm going to head back to Silas.
Okay.
So Pericleus looks over the jade a bit further. He's now examining it, and he's taken out a small little magnifier which he places on his eye like that. And he says, well, I can't really make head or tail out of this, but an old friend of mine, Bartolf, could maybe take a look at this as well. Have you heard of Bartolf? He's quite famous among gamblers for various reasons.
I don't believe I've had the pleasure.
Can you do me a city law roll, Silas?
I can indeed.
And
yeah, let's pass.
did you make it? Yeah. You haven't had the pleasure of meeting him, but you've definitely heard of him. Bartolf is a famous ex-gambler, as far as you know. He had a big issue with gambling with very, very rich people of the city, and he was exposed basically to be a cheater. So as far as you know, he doesn't do that kind of thing anymore, but you know that he's familiar with jewels, money, etc.
Well, I do remember hearing the name about, of course. I mean, with all that business about him being thrown out of certain schools, shall we say, it'd be difficult not to have. But I don't believe I've ever met him directly. But yeah, I believe he may have the expertise that you're looking for. He was renowned for his, shall we say, his interest in the finer things in life.
Aye. Also, it will confirm whether this is a fake or not. We're assuming so far that it's not a fake, but obviously in this business of ours it could be.
Well, yes, there is always that possibility, I suppose. You can't be too careful. Probably best to get someone to look at it.
Tell me how many are in your team of yours, and I'll get somebody to sort out finances for you.
Well, there's 5 of us, including myself, at the moment. We're a small but skilled group. I like taking us to a precise surgical instrument. It's very small, but it gets the job done. And if you ram it in hard enough and jiggle it about a bit, you can get done what you need to get done.
Aye. Well, let me think. How about, for now, I say that I pay each of you 50 gold pieces for finding out some information about the fox. If you find out some significant information, say a direct lead as to where he is, or maybe even track him down yourself, I will significantly increase the amount I'm going to give you. Does that sound fair to you?
My eyes will have been getting wider as he's been sort of like talking about the money, and I've been totting up how much money that in total. But, oh, that sounds more than reasonable. I shall go and speak to my people, and we'll get underway as soon as possible.
We will need to act fairly quickly, though. You understand?
Oh, well, don't worry about that. Of course, I will get straight on it. I'll sort of hold my hand. It's a pleasure doing to meet another man of business about in the city, and I hope this is the start of a most profitable working relationship. I shall see you as soon as I can, Pericles.
He holds out his hand to shake, and you notice he's got many, many ring bands on each of his 5 fingers.
Okay, and I'll nod and I'll head out, planning to make my way back to the boat with all speed.
Okay.
I'll chuck Boyce a coin or something on my way out.
Oh, thank you, sir.
That's all right, Boyce. You stick with me. I'll see you right, Boyce. I'll see you right.
Are you sure you don't want me to take you back to the boat?
Well, it is nice to have a bit of company. I'd have no objections if you wanted to have a quick walk with me. That'd be absolutely fine.
He smiles from cheek to cheek, and he skips along with you. So, as you head back to the ship, let's say that you are heading along past the square to where the boat is moored. Can you do me an awareness check, please, Silas?
I can indeed. Am I rolling above or below?
You're rolling, let's say, below.
Okay. So I need to roll 8 or below. No, just failed.
Okay. So, as far as you know, nothing particularly bad has happened. You assume that everyone is simply packing up, ready to set sail. As you see the full view of the ship, you are suddenly stopped by 2, again, henchman-looking people, and they say, "Are you affiliated with this ship?" And they hold out some rather long pole arms at you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was hoping to maybe put a business proposition to the way of the captain. I heard that he'd been involved in a most spectacular combat in the market square. I was hoping that maybe a bit of his reputation could be useful to my local business. I'm a local tradesman. I was simply hoping that I could persuade him to maybe make a few appearances at my modest establishment. You know, a bit of publicity. All publicity's good publicity, so they say.
Really?
Why has he done something wrong, officers?
That is none of your concern, citizen. You are to wait here until we have finished with this matter. Then, depending on what unfolds, you may or may not be able to talk with the people occupying the boat.
Oh, yes, of course. I wouldn't dream of interfering with your business. I'm going to say it as I cast I'll sort of like basically turn around as I'm like rummaging in my pockets, and I'm going to cast the attraction spell on him.
Okay. Make a roll.
This is always fun.
So, like before, you're using the attraction on yourself. Yeah.
My basic is, I believe, you sit on someone and it's attracting them to yourself. So as I continue talking to him, I'll obviously try to butter him up about how, I wouldn't want to get in the way of his official business. I'm saying, well, of course, salt of the city, guards such as yourself, keeping us poor citizens safe from all the evils of the world and whatnot. Wouldn't dream of interfering. I was just wondering if it would make my day as a citizen if there was anything at all that I could do to help out such fine, outstanding members of the city guard as yours. It would be my honour, nay, my privilege, sir.
The two of them laugh with you, and while they appear to still be following orders, they've relaxed into you, definitely. But both parties now can hear the sound of great hammering on the door, almost like somebody is trying to break it down. And then, after a few hits, the door indeed does break.
On the ship?
Yes, on the ship. I forgot to mention.
Well, I assumed. I think we all assumed. I was just clarifying.
So where are the rest of you now on the ship?
Well, I assume that we were all reading that note before we heard blood thumping.
If you choose to read the note is in common and says to you, we will give you 10 seconds to give yourselves up. But obviously, they've decided you're not going to give yourselves up, by the sounds of it.
Mm-hmm.
In comes a rather familiar, gruff-looking fellow with the silver streak and the long brown hair. And
I try to hide out of his line of sight.
He shouts to you, "The boat is surrounded. Give yourselves up and nobody will get hurt."
What is the meaning of this? I complied with everything that you wanted to. I let you see my entire ship. And now you're breaking my property? That's the way the laws work around here?
We do what we must, sir, but we have gathered more information about the location of this bear slayer, and we can now confirm that it is definitely on this boat. So if you wouldn't mind handing her over, then we will leave straight away.
Oh, the bear slayer's on the boat.
That is correct. We have got good word from a good citizen of the city.
I go up on deck.
This is by no means a threat, but you had best hope that this bear slayer is not on the boat, for if she is, I don't think it would bear well for you, my good man.
Bear well.
We'll see about that when you hand her over, but put it this way, if you do not show her to me now, then we may just take you in as well, and everybody else on board. For you could have committed treason by hiding her.
Have I managed to get on deck yet?
Yeah. Yeah, you'll have heard all the commotion by now. Down the disco.
Question the word of a priest?
Ah, good priest. Well, and he's quite taken aback. He almost forgot that you were here. He said, "Well, yes, there has been a disturbance on this ship, and we have definitive information that the girl is definitely here. But you understand, if you don't want her to be on the ship, causing dark auras and so on. We need to take her away."
My good man, let me explain the situation to you, as I see it. 1. You did a complete search and did not find her. 2. You have called a priest a liar when I said that no such person was aboard this vessel. 3. You take the word of a renowned citizen, someone we do not know, over a humble priest. I have no reason to lie.
With all due respect, he wished to remain anonymous.
Yes, one can always trust the word of a man who is wishing to be anonymous.
We are not saying, good priest, that you are lying, possibly mistaken. Perhaps you were unaware that she was hiding on the boat, and if she had any kind of dastardly magic, then she would have surely been able to conceal herself through powers.
Well, listen.
Search this ship.
Yes, search the ship a second time if you must. I don't know what you want from me. I do not have any
do so.
little.
We will gladly do so, as there is one place we didn't look. That was meant to be a reference, by the way, but never mind. So,
Israel, grant them patience.
there's one place we didn't look. So, he gestures to his goons, and this time there are more of them, maybe 5 or 6, and you're not entirely sure that this is the whole caboodle of this henchman, and they are keeping you to one side of the hallway, armed with mostly halberts, polearms, not pointing them directly at you, but kind of putting them forward a bit in a stance to show that they want you to stay there.
And I've by no means, of course, pulled my blade out, but I make it known that my hand is on my rapier.
And
one of them says to you, "I wouldn't do that if I were you."
These are the ones that are pointing weapons at us.
Indeed, I wouldn't come up into people's homes after you've broken their windows accusing them of things if I were you, regardless of your authoritative position.
Sorry, Sophie, what are you doing? What's Sophie doing?
Oh yeah, well they were having that discussion, that nice friendly little discussion. I'm gonna try make my way to the smuggling compartment. Silas showed me.
Alright, this time you're gonna need to do a sneaking roll.
Before. Yeah. Alright. Sneaking.
Rolling above.
Okay.
Please make it.
So that's skill plus stealth plus roll, so that is 11. I'm not sure if being a small child helps me in any way.
I think that would help you a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So, as you're hiding there, is it kind of quite low down? Did you say, like in a little cupboard or something like that?
I wasn't here when I had there the first time, so.
Oh, okay.
Wait, you can describe it however you want.
Yeah.
It hasn't been. Really.
Okay, cool. Yeah, low down and like a somewhat hidden compartment behind some barrels. Yeah, you go in and like lie down in that area.
Okay. You think that you are pretty much concealed, and several people come past, and they definitely see no sign of you. But then you see Xavier coming past, and It's almost like he has a strange feeling that you are there, and he approaches the barrels.
Oh no.
He leans over them, because presumably you're behind them, and says, There she is!
Oh boy.
No, I'm not. Oh god.
Fry his
So-
skin off.
Yeah,
I think it just got real.
I'm gonna try crawl to the very end of the little thing, so like they can't. Like they have to get into like an awkward position to try grab me.
Head over to Xavier. It's when it's going to get real, guys, unfortunately. Sorry. Head over to Xavier.
Sorry, I didn't get that again.
Head over to Xavier.
You're gonna head over to Xavier, yeah?
Turn him round.
Okay.
Where this is going.
Put one straight in his face.
Okay. What with exactly?
Not first.
You first, okay. Right, make a roll for me. See if you can somehow avoid it, even though you basically just
Sucker
snuck
punch.
up on him. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, guys. I did say it was going to get real.
It's fine by me.
Oh yeah.
No, yeah, you have nothing to apologize for.
It might be. I could have mucked this up.
We can't.
You do manage to get a decent blow.
13.
Yeah, you managed to get a decent blow. Can you roll for your damage?
What is it? Just like a D6? And what's it for a
Oh, that's a
fist? I
good point.
mean,
You haven't got it. Do a d6 roll, and I'll tell you how much damage you did.
just a point.
All right.
Do you add any strength modifiers, anything like that? Is there any strength modifiers?
Basically, it's up to me, and I'd say no, because since you're just punching another human,
Okay.
in
No
the
problem.
face, basically. So you technically you take 1 point of damage, but I was gonna make it more cinematic than that. So what happens is you definitely do a blow to his face, and he is thrown for a couple of seconds, but then after that he doesn't seem particularly fazed by you. He then gets out a mace out of his belt and says, "Okay, fine, bounty hunter. We're going to have to take you all in."
Punch him again while he's talking.
Good scope.
Okay, fine. Just roll your damage for that. I won't bother letting you roll again.
Or just roll the damage again. Sorry, sorry.
Yeah, just roll the damage again.
Fight again? Good God.
Again, he's thrown, but not completely phased. He's now going to try and lash out with his mace at you.
You're obviously just in with him.
Someone's Facebook keeps going off. So you need to make a roll to see if he hits you.
Okay, what do I roll? What am I adding on?
It's just another 2d6. And you add your weapon skill, because technically you're in the middle of a fight, like with punch up and whatever. So
15.
1 plus 6 is 7. Yeah, 15. Okay. He narrowly misses you, but you still have to avoid him with a big dodge to the side. And then he starts gesturing to his goons to try and get Sophie out and to grab you as well. And you see more coming in.
Okay, crack him again. I'm in a fight.
You're just going to keep punching him until he dies, basically.
You want to knock him out?
Alright, go ahead. Make a roll this time as well.
13.
Okay. This time he's on the ball now. He manages to get a swipe in with his mace at you.
Okay. So I've got to roll again.
You've got some armor, haven't you? So roll a d6, please. And you've got your leather hose, haven't you?
I rolled a 6.
Ooh, very good, very good. All right, he takes 2 points of stamina to you. He manages to hit you square in the shoulder with it.
Okay.
All right. What are the others up to at this point?
I'm okay. So is he? I take it no one is actually actively trying to grab at me right now.
He managed to call a couple of people who are now trying to kneel down in order to reach their arm in.
Well, I'm gonna cast fear on them.
Ooh.
That kind of. I'm going to hold off for a second then for my question because that fear one might just actually be the one we need. Oh, Israel, forgive me.
How many points does fear have again?
1.
Yeah.
It says. So.
This is okay. Okay. Bear in mind this can only be done in one target though.
Yeah. So casting at one of them.
Yeah. Okay. Then a test for luck. Unfortunately for you, they have resisted, and they don't seem fazed by it. But he shouts out at you, "She's a witch! She's a witch! She just tried to cast a spell on me!"
Okay, kick him in the nuts.
Kick him in the nuts. Oh my god.
Now I'm gonna just kick back, try to crawl right into the edge of the space, so they have to awkwardly maneuver their hand to try and grab at me. Then, as they try to do that, they are gonna get stabbed in the hand with a rapier.
Ooh. Okay, how to transcribe that into a roll? Let's see. How about you make a dodge check for me, and that should cover it.
Okay. So that's skill plus a dodge skill?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's 13.
Okay. Yeah, you managed to slip away from them and therefore stab in the hand with the rapier. Can you roll for damage?
Alright. It's 1d6.
Yeah, although it is the hand, so that's going to be quite painful.
Which is 5.
Alright.
But I believe so the stat for a rapier is that does 2 damage on a 5?
That's probably correct. If that's the same as what I put to you on messages, then yeah. Well, it doesn't technically do too much damage to his hand, but because it's in such a sensitive part of the body, he howls in pain and yanks his hand away. So for the minute, he's quite inactive as he's trying to recover and nurse his hand. As for Xavier being kicked in the nuts, on the other hand, let's roll off for that.
All's to that, I say.
16.
Right, I have some bad news for you.
He hasn't got any.
He rolled a double 6.
Oh, sweet.
No, that's very bad.
Good.
No, that's good.
He's
No.
trying to get high.
6 means.
In this case, because you're rolling against him, the fact he's got a double 6 means it's the highest it could possibly be.
Oh.
So he manages to give you a good whack on the head. And let's see. You take 3 stamina of damage. He creates a quite a big gash in the side of the temple, and you're currently quite dazed.
Okay.
You were unable to kick him in the nuts for a few minutes, maybe.
Okay. But did the blow land? Because I was under the impression that it went simultaneously. But even though he clunked me, did I get him?
No, you didn't get him. It's a simple case of who wins gets the blow.
Right. Okay.
I'm going to go back to Silas for a little bit. So you can hear quite a lot of commotion going on inside. Yelp coming from somebody. Possibly been getting kicked in the nuts. Or is it?
Okay, I'm going to sort of sigh a little under my breath. I was hoping we could sort of get all this dealt with fairly quietly, but then I'm going to, because presumably the soldiers that I'm talking to, the two guards, have also noticed this uproar breaking out. Has it attracted their attention? Are they looking in that sort of direction?
They are looking towards their right, i.e. the direction of the boat, from time to time, but they're keeping their eye on you. In the background, though, behind them, you do see more people, possibly linked to Xavier, heading to the boat, trying to tie it off, getting it properly secured by the side of the docks to make sure it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon.
Okay, since I can see them securing it, how secure is it at present? As in, how much would I have to get rid of in order for us to be able to set up in the boat?
Okay, well, there's another 3 of them behind the 2 that you're currently exchanging conversation with. And they're knelt down, pulling the boat right up, starting to tie it off with extra rope.
Okay, does the boat itself look like it's ready to sail?
Yeah.
If the rope were removed. Okay, in which case what I'd like to do, and I'm aware this may take like a few rounds, what I'd like to do is I'd like to basically cast hold on each of the 2 guards I'm talking to. Then my plan is pretty much to stroll up the gangplank, casting slip on the person who's tying the rope, so they sort of fumble the rope out of the grasp rather than being able to complete tying it. Then I'm hoping that once I get on board, I can find enough of the crew to actually set sail with this ship, and then we can deal with whoever's on board.
And you've got the goon with you to help you with whatever.
That's it. Yeah, and I've got the big lad with me, so I am generally trying to do it without recourse to like unnecessary violence, though, since I live here.
Right, so just take that in some smaller steps for me, maybe with some rolls. So let's see, you're going to do slip.
Well, my first thing that I'd have to roll for would be I'm casting hold on the guards that are near me.
Okay. Right, okay. Make a roll, please.
Alright. Says I can bring my dice rolly thing back up. There we go. Oh yeah.
Oh, very, very good indeed. That's almost a critical. Unfortunately not, though. But, however, it's only for one of them. You're not powerful enough to do it for both of them.
Yeah, no, my hope is that my basic plan is to cast a spell twice.
Okay.
I'm going to cast it on one of them, then presumably he'll be like, oh, I can't move my legs, and the other one will like, look at him, and then I'll cast it on the other one as well.
Yeah, so one of them, before he was kind of fidgeting with his feet a bit, and he suddenly realizes, oh, what? My legs?
And Shazam, the other one's held as well.
He looks at the other one, and they get the same realization.
I'll go, oh, there's obviously some deviltry afoot. I'll go and see if I can get your sergeant and get some help. And I'll rush past them. As I rush up the gangplank, I'll cast slip on the person tying the rope.
Okay, make another roll for that.
Okay.
One that will kill everybody.
Oh, let me just clear these existing ones off.
Oh,
There
sorry.
we go. Ah, yeah.
Yeah, another great roll. So he's busy tying off and doesn't even notice you come up and cast the cantrip. He's kind of knelt down with his left leg raised up, so he slips onto his right shoulder.
Is he near the edge of the gangplank?
Yeah, although he's a bit further along, so there isn't very, very much room at all, really, between him and the boat.
Okay, basically, if he's sort of slipped and he's sort of overbalanced, with my long walking stick, I'm just going to push him the rest of the way so he falls in the water. That'll make it a bit more difficult for him to suddenly go, oh, this cantrip's worn out, I'm going to retie this rope.
That would be possible, although he might not make the water. It's pretty narrow.
I'll chance it. You never know. I might be lucky.
Chance it. Okay, he's caught off guard. You manage to tap him with your stick, and he kind of slides down. And he definitely goes into the water, and he doesn't surface at all. He has no way. He has no way of getting himself back up to the surface, really, because it's so narrow. Unless he knew where the opening was.
So as far as I'm concerned, then I've got to get this ship to get underway, otherwise he's going to drown. I understand.
Yes.
As we head up the gangplank with the sort of like the big lad who got sent with me, I'm basically just going to say, look, find the rest of the crew as quick as you can, get the ship under sail, sail it anywhere. I don't care, just fucking sail it. And then presumably part ways with him once we get to the top of the gangplank. And he can go off and find the crew, and I'll hopefully not get jumped by too many guards.
So the crew that you talk to nod profusely and start splitting off in order to get everything up and going.
And I will sort of head off in search of these guys.
Okay. You find them with not much trouble at all. And back to Sophie and Johan, and was Gil involved in this, or?
Galen,
And Galen as well.
I'm sort of back. They're sort of in the bowels of the ship or in the room where she's hiding. I'm more out in the main hallway where remember I was sort of having a Cold War standoff here with a couple of their goons. And you said that half of these guys or more of them rushed into the room, of course, when their sergeant or superior called them, but I assume at least 2 or 3 are still standing here, sort of eyeing me. And then, once it's opportune, I'm going to make a break for it, try to throw a knife in one of these guys' chest, and then make my way, just barrel up to the top of the ship and begin to make way to leave. Trust that my comrades can handle the rest of these people down here.
I'll let you make one roll for that, but there will be a modifier there because there are 3 of them and they're currently holding their polearms at you.
Sure. Fair enough.
Make your roll.
For a dodge or thrown?
I'll let you do one for your weapon.
Okay. $20. Well, is it you add the skill to the thing, right? Or
yeah. What are the numbers on your dice as well?
I got a 6 and a 4.
Very, very close indeed. I also got another double 6.
Nice.
I was rolling some rubbish rolls earlier. Now I'm rolling double 6s.
Hey,
So
good storytelling.
so you managed to get one of them in the tip of the shoulder. So I'll let you make a roll for damage for that.
Is it just 1d6?
Yeah, 1d6 for a throwing
Got
dagger.
a 5.
Ooh, very good. So you do quite a significant gash in there, 2 stamina damage, but unfortunately they managed to get you back into their little circle there, and in this case they kind of almost try and tackle you and brace you because now they know that you're trying to make a break for it.
Right.
I'm going to address Galen's thing in the chat, since he keeps saying he's cast Circle of Peace.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to say it out loud because you were dealing with Silas and Gil there. So I didn't want to just jump in. So I just put it in the chat there just to have my state my intention.
But now the time is right.
Well, I've got a feeling that this is going to get bloody unless I can actually just put some cool heads to bear here.
All right, let me just have a quick think. About 3 meters.
Yeah, it's going to take everyone out, I think.
Whereabouts are you at this point?
We're still. Where was the main sort of center of it happening?
That's further down a smaller corridor, I would say, towards the stern of the ship.
It could at least deal with the guards that are directly around us.
Okay. I know you rolled double 6, but you actually don't need to roll.
I am
because.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. You were reacting to mine. I thought you'd rolled double 6 yourself. Never mind.
No. I said your double 6 fucking failed, but you know it's. I'll roll if you want, but I know I remember you saying I didn't have to for Circle of Peace. It's my divine power.
Okay, so everybody, including you guys and Xavier and his goons as well, feel a sense of calmness around them, and each of them, apart from Galen, who's got this manic face of terror on him. Never mind. You all stand up and are very calm and collected. Those of you who have wounds are nursing them, and the guards with their weapons are kind of holding back a bit.
Okay, I took a step forward.
What is your total devotion, Ronnie? Because it lasts for as long as your devotion, this spell.
What is my devotion?
Your devotion is your priestly skill plus your magic.
Well, my magic is 6. My magic priestly is 2, so plus 2. So I'm going to say that's an 8.
It's going to last for 8 minutes. This spell.
Here comes the ultimate 8 minutes. I take a step forward, gentlemen. We are talking about a child here. There will be no harming of this child. Under no circumstances can it be allowed. Look to yourselves. Look at these honourable men who stand in defence of a helpless child. You would pull her away from all that she has learned to know and trust? For what? Because you believe the stories of some anonymous peoples? No. No. You must look within yourself. Leave. With your good name and conscience intact. Leave. Let this child be.
They don't say anything.
I will say I do have leadership, and I'm prepared to make a roll on it if necessary.
Okay. No, I don't think you have to roll after that speech. That was pretty awesome. They are really quite shocked for maybe half a minute, not saying anything at all, quite speechlessly. And Xavier says to you, "I humbly apologize, good priest. We have done you and your god or goddess a disservice. We should not have done this. We should have addressed this more properly, more civilized. It seems that you have some kind of link, after all, with this child. Perhaps you would all care to discuss this with our affiliates somewhere in a more civilized manner. We could discuss how this is all going to work, because I cannot go back to Corvus Corax himself and say that I just let her go free. There is too much of a stir going around the city.
A stir created by loose tongues of cowardly men. And what have they achieved? That you would do violence to this innocent child. Look inwards.
We had hoped not to do violence. Unfortunately, it was his idea that we threw the stone in. But we were trying to get across to you that we would let you come quietly.
I would say vandalism very rarely brings out the quiet consideration of those who are vandalized against.
Okay. You suddenly notice Xavier shaking his head.
Ouch.
Kind of like this. And
Oh.
says, ah,
While this was going on, Johnny, I've drunk my stamina potion.
yeah, that's fine. I saw that. And suddenly he's kind of
Just this
snapping
player,
out of something.
this player just saying to the other players, sorry guys, I tried. I honestly thought I was getting them off the ship at one point.
The others seem to still be under the influence of the spell, but Xavier appears to have snapped out of it.
Pull up my pistol and shoot him in the knee.
Ooh. Alright, make a roll for it.
Wait, are we not influenced by the aura anymore?
Xavier slipped out of it.
I'm gonna, yeah.
Yeah, so is it just Xavier who slipped out of it and not us? So, because it affects us as well, right?
It did affect you, yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm wondering if we can take offensive action at this point without, like, I don't know, willpower or whatever.
Yeah. My bad. How about, Johan, if you make a roll like I did with Xavier just now? Just a 2d6. Just 2d6. Rolling to see if you snap out of this spell early.
Right, let's see what you're saying.
And then if you do, then you shoot him in the knee.
Sorry guys.
2 and 5. What am I adding it at 2?
That's fine. Alright, yeah, you managed to snap out of it as well.
17.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Serious.
So what was your previous roll? Was it a 5 and a 1 that you did?
What,
or-
2 and a 5 I got?
For your shot?
Yeah, I got a 17 in total.
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay. You don't get him in the knee, but you do get him in the foot.
Okay, that'll work.
Okay. Roll for your damage.
It's just a d6 and then you roll in it.
Yeah, and you've got your table for your gun as well.
Let me have a quick look for this.
I've got it here as well. I believe.
2 points.
Alright. Okay.
Oh God.
You see the bullet go in, and it definitely hurts, but you also notice that he's wearing some kind of very tough boots, possibly lined with a bit of plate armor on the top, and you may have just caught it in the small segment of plate armor.
What I'm trying to do is cause them as much pain as possible without actually killing them.
I know. He basically falls over from the shock of it, though.
Excellent, that's what I wanted. Level a gun at him and say, don't move.
He shouts out to you, look, you may think that you've got the upper hand here, but I
I'm
have...
holding the gun on the floor.
If you kill me now, you'll regret it. I have got the whole of the river boarded up. You can't get out.
We can do ramming speed.
We have state-of-the-art sluice gates. I highly doubt that will succeed.
What? You mean through the royal court area?
Through all the areas, you think that I've just blocked off one?
We're about to find out, aren't we?
Alright, at this point, Sophie will peer out to see what's going on, only having an audio. Yeah. So, does it look like she'll be able to sneak past some of these guys?
You can certainly have a try.
Yeah, because presumably they all turned around to hear that inspiring speech.
Yeah, that's right.
So I rolled a 6 plus, so 12.
And I got a double 1, so you definitely succeed there. Everyone is completely oblivious to you moving.
Alright, I'm gonna try to get out of that room. And let's say I go in the direction that where Gil is.
Okay.
I'm at the other end of these of these pikes and pole axes, but I'm just affected by this peace spell, so I'm incredibly relaxed, even though I'm at.
so I look at
Who's in the room with me?
So if Xavier's on the ground, it's you, it's 4 of his goons. Sophie has been sneaking out. Brother Galen is there as well.
Okay. Tell the goons to drop their weapons.
And what?
Throw Brother Galen a pair of handcuffs I hope you can catch.
And what are you going to do with those?
Tell him to put them on that guy that's on the floor, Xavier. Tell Xavier if he moves, it'll be the last time he'll ever breathe another breath of air.
Well, Bounty Hunter, it seems like you've met your match. In the end, we both want the same thing. To try and get rid of the evil in this world. Bring people to justice. Can't you understand my predicament here?
Not with a child.
But can't you see it's not just a child, it's almost like she could be possessed by something.
I've dealt with worse. You're leaving the ship. No, it's your choice. You can either leave it in a body bag or you can leave it voluntarily.
At this point, I hopefully begin to sort of come back to my senses a bit. And I probably don't hear the conversation that they're having, but I know that they're somewhere nearby, so I'll just shout out, "Listen, just let us go. We'll take the girl. She'll never be back. Everyone wins. We'll take her off your hands. Let's just end this before any more blood is shed."
Xavier, I'm not gonna kill you. Well, I don't want to kill you, but I am gonna put you ashore.
I promise you this, bounty hunter.
Come
We will
looking.
find you
Please.
again.
Thank
We
you.
will be back.
More than likely you will. Your type always is.
Xavier decides to be cooperative for now and go the easy way since you know that he's beaten. Can I ask where Silas is at this point?
Okay. For convenience sake, I'm happy to assume that I've been generally helping out the rest of the crew as much as I can, just to try and speed up in any small way getting the ship ready. Because to be honest, I'm a fairly old gentleman, running heroically into combat, shooting at people's all very well if you're a sort of dashing pirate captain or a efficient bounty hunter. However, when you're a old tradesman like myself, it's not really a situation I want to find myself in. So I'm just going to basically keep my head down and help the crew get the ship ready to set sail as quickly as I can.
All right. So Xavier gets himself up, presumably if you allow him to do so. Johan?
Well, actually, I just sent one of his men to give him a hand to get up.
Okay. They do so. And he takes him off. He's now limping. And he ushers to his other men to follow.
I'll find Guild and find a little... I'm sure he's got some sort of boat that he can drop over the side to go ashore if need be. Because I'm sure you kind of get the boat in all the time, so anywhere. If not, they're going to swim, one way or the other.
I'm confused because the boat is docked on the side of the river.
I thought we'd set sail.
No,
We
were
hadn't
trying
said
to-
so, no.
Right, okay. Let them get off then.
It's alright. Yeah, presumably you want to get off first before you set sail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought we were already away from the dock.
Mhm. So they head off, and you're not entirely sure where they've gone, but they've kind of slipped away.
Get this boat out of here now, quick.
I concur.
Mhm. Everyone in agreement?
We need
Hell
to
yeah.
Okay. Now the question is, which way are you going to sail?
Not the royal way, because that will be the heavily guarded area. Because you've got
Okay.
the palisade. And the other direction.
Right. So you head downstream, or rather downriver since it's much bigger, and it appears that Xavier has allowed the sluice gates to be opened up again. It seems that they're giving you free passage for now.
for now.
Well, I don't know if this is of interest to anyone, whether it determines where we're going or whatever, but when we were looking at that map of yours earlier, Gil, I couldn't help notice, but it had the witch tooth line on it further down. And I don't know if you remember, you may or may not, when that David chap earlier on, he was talking about them dark elves and dark magics and whatnot. Well, I distinctly remember that he said the dark elves were located near the witch tooth line. Just thought I'd mention it. I don't know whether it affects where you want to go or whatever. Personally, I was hoping we could do a bit more business. I had a lovely bit of work lined up for us all. Nice bit of tidy profit, but I expect that's all up the Swanee now.
For the minute, Silas, yes.
Oh, well.
One must be alive. One must be alive to enjoy profits, my friend.
So,
Well, yeah.
you want to
there
head
was-
to Dark Elves? I might have missed something here.
No, I wasn't saying we should necessarily head to them. I was just saying that if we were going to be going, the talk, from what I remember, was we were going to be going south. because we told them that you've gone north. I don't know if that's still the case. I was just pointing out that he'd said them dark elves were further down south on that Witch-Tooth line. So I don't know whether that affects where we want to set sail. After all, it's not like I'm piloting the boat, so.
Well, as I remember, going down the south part of the river towards Cumbleside was actually where we were going to pass all the royal palaces and the rich part of town, which we really don't want to be passing right at this point, maybe. But if they're allowing us free passage out of the city in either direction, then whichever one.
Well, yeah, I suppose there's no chance of me being able to claim that 50 gold pieces for each of us that Pericles offered me for finding out about the folks now. That's well and truly up the Swanee.
I'm not staying in the city.
No, I fear in our attempt to I fear in having to if we try and stay for that money, Silas, we may very well be dead before you get a chance to enjoy it.
Yeah, I know you're right. I know you're right. It still doesn't make it any more enjoyable, though. Truth be told, by and large, in my younger years, I'd have probably just walked off and left you all alone on the boat. But like you say, we can't be allowing like no youngster to be being like dragged up and experimented on, magical ability or not. You can't be doing that. How many young people in this city suffered enough?
I'm sure there is a great deal of mystery that we may learn about this young lady. However, incarceration, I do not believe, gets us anywhere. Much as I
hate to say it, Galen, I completely agree with you. I think our best bet, as Johan said, is to get out of the city and not reassess this situation and see where we go from there.
We could either just we could either just right now just head out to like open waters, or maybe the nearest town.
Well, what do you say, Captain? I mean, you're the captain and all that. You're the one who's in charge.
Indeed. Well, I think that open waters probably sounds like the best bet. Seems like it would give us the most option and would be hardest for any parties trailing us to do so.
Agreed.
Sounds like a plan then.
All right. It's
Sail
certainly possible, but it would take a bit longer. And unfortunately, to get to open waters, the closest would have to be northeast towards the Onyx Sea. Let me just show you a more general map of the old world, so you can get a bit of perspective. Let's see.
I mean, we don't really care about not going northeast now, because now they definitely know we're aligned.
But also, I don't think it really matters if we fly by the expensive side of town, because now everything is exposed and it is what it is. So
yeah,
it's probably one way or another in the long run.
Flip a coin on it.
We just need to get out of here. That is what is important.
Head northeast.
Well, I tell you,
I think we should head south.
Does anyone have any particular knowledge of this area of the world? I believe I have a certain amount of travelling knowledge myself. Perhaps if we all put our heads together, we could work out what we're likely to come across. We go in either direction.
I've got a point.
Lots, but never by boat.
I have a point in sea lore. I don't know if that'll help.
I have a point. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that will help later on when you get to the Onyx Sea. I know this is quite pixelated, but if Royal Lendl is here, you need to head up the River Ede, and it will certainly take longer because for a time you'd be traveling upstream before you get to a place where you could branch off and then head downriver again towards the Onyx Sea. So you'd have to go up various trade rivers, be hoisted up every so often. So it would be a lot slower.
Yeah.
Roughly, how long do we think it's going to take us to before we're sort of outside of the bounds of the city? I mean, obviously, ask the crew this since they know more about the speed of their boat. Do you have any idea?
Well, if you're asking me, it won't take too long. It depends how speedy and how stealthily you want to do this. And again, it also depends if you want to head northeast or if you want to head south. Heading south is a much cleaner method.
Yeah, let's do south. South sounds better, faster,
if you
easier.
if you wanted to head northeast, it might be a bit more
Can I make
treacherous.
a world law roll?
Make a what, sorry?
A world law roll to see which direction would be best.
Yeah, you can do.
18.
Alright, from what you can gather, most people don't tend to head northeast. It tends to be quite a one-way trade system. It isn't technologically advanced enough to really be transportable both ways too well.
Okay.
So
Seems like it may be an arduous task to try and go north, and maybe easiest to just go south with the current.
South sounds better.
Oh, Gil.
Anywhere is going to be better than here.
Gil, what do you do on this boat? Anyway.
What do I do?
Oh, I mean,
He's the captain.
what's the boat for?
Me and my men are entrepreneurs of sorts.
Like a trading vessel, right?
Yeah, indeed. We buy and sell. Sometimes buy, mostly sell. Goods.
How do you sell
From
more
around the
than you
world.
buy?
Do I take it then, Captain, that you sometimes acquire your goods to sell by other means than simply buying them?
That would be a fair assumption to make. Yes, I have my informants, and I'm pretty entrenched. Sometimes when I get word of an opportunity, I take it. My men and I we do have honor. We don't take lives willy-nilly. Not some band of ruffians or anything like that.
I think I will pray.
Wait.
I think I will find a small corner and pray.
Gil, so you're a pirate?
I don't prefer such bold terms, such base terminology.
Can I be a pirate too?
Well, yeah, I suppose you are now by association, if nothing else.
Yay! Well, so you must know of some place nearby that's.
I know of many ports in the world. Yes. I don't know where exactly we should head. Perhaps does some place more uncivilized and lawless sound good? Should we try to escape the grasp of authority, or should we? I've never really been in a situation where I have a ticking magical time bomb
Either
on my
way,
boat.
Xavier isn't going to let this lie. It doesn't matter where we go in the end. He's still going to follow it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All I've done is I've just bought with time to get the hell out of here.
We should leave the city. We should regroup. Our young lady here, she is a mystery that must be solved. Hopefully in a way that we will ensure that no harm comes to her, and hopefully that no harm comes to anyone else by her.
Where did you come from originally, Sophie? What part of the world do you
Inland.
hail from?
If you from this city and you walk northeast of the region, if you continue walking there for like months, you might find where my hometown was.
Can you remember the name of it?
Name. I don't know.
Perhaps we could
I know
find
that-
some. Perhaps we could find some of our answers there.
If I try to think, I might be able to remember that some towns near it. I just, it's not like a city. Like people won't just refer to it by. Yeah, growing up, no one ever like referred to it by name.
Good.
Gentlemen, may I say that these conversations and questions are important and should be asked and answered. However, would it not be better that we leave this city first before we have this conversation?
I thought we had. I thought we'd set sail.
Yeah, assumable. I don't know if we've left the city, but we're en route or en route.
Yeah,
I thought.
Right. Well, first of all, I'd like to address John in the chat, because he was basically asking me about how long it would take to get out of the city in order for him to possibly send a message to Boyce. And I said it would take about an hour to get out of the city if you decide to head south and follow the currents. So John has said that he wants to use Basil, his rat, to send a message to Boyce to meet at a place on the outskirts of the city before you actually leave. Is that feasible to everybody? Is that what you want to do?
Sounds
Has he
good to
actually
me.
told you this?
Is what, sorry?
Sorry
I
about
said,
that, Michael.
sorry, has Silas actually told us this plan that he's just had?
No, I was just waiting for you to finish wrapping up the discussion. Like I say, didn't want to just butt in. Since you have, though, I will sidle over to the captain of our seemingly new home. I'll say, excuse me, Garrett. I was wondering if I could have a wee word now. All the sort of all the danger and all that is like, well, abated for a bit.
Of course.
Well, there's a you remember that young lad who did the tried to do the pickpocketing on Brother Galen when we were in town?
Oh, the one that showed up here earlier.
That's right, yeah. Well, let's say that young lad, I think, shows a great deal of promise and has done me a fair few good turns. However, a city like this, it can chew up a young person and just sort of like spit them out on the sidelines. I was an orphan myself. You've only got to look at how they responded to young Sophie there. It doesn't take a lot to have the city turn against you. Once it does, well, what's a youngster supposed to do about it? They'll just find themselves left on the scrap heap of life by the side of the road.
Well, perhaps this isn't the most reputable of professions or people for him to be getting along with, but it certainly seems a fair amount better than doing what he's doing now, certainly. And not to sound self-serving, but if we do, in years to come, ever come back to this town, or should want to come back into contact with this thieves guild, as it were, he would prove useful in that regard as well.
Indeed, I quite agree. Well, it's within my power. I'll say, and I'll reach in my pocket and I'll pull out a small brown rat that sits on the palm of my hand. It's within my power to send a message to young Boyce. I was hoping to arrange for him to meet up with us before we leave the city proper. Do you think that would be feasible?
I don't see why not. Sounds like it would behoove us greatly.
Right, you are then. Well, little Basil here, he's quite the swimmer, so I'm just going. My plan is basically I'm going to attach a little message to him, and I'm going to send him off. Give him the location. He's been in my pocket the whole time, so he's obviously heard Boyce. Probably had a quick look at him as well. Rats, tremendous sense of smell. You wouldn't believe the things they can smell. But anyway, I'll send this little message off to him, and hopefully Boyce can meet up with us before we leave the city.
Sure, I'll go half sails until we leave the city to give him a bit more time.
Thank you very much. That is most generous of you, Gil. Thank you.
All right, so you've definitely decided to head south, but obviously not via the palace and all that jazz.
We're heading to Cumbleside.
All right.
Everyone gives a sausage.
So, Silas, you put in the message for Boyce to meet you at a small, deceptive little tavern called the Hammer and Tongs, which not many rich folk turn up at. It's rife full of pickpockets, gamblers, possibly cutthroats as well on a Friday night.
Splendid. Love a bit of local colour.
So you managed to head downriver for a little bit, and it seems that Xavier has pulled his forces away from the river. He doesn't want to arouse any more suspicion than necessary, it seems, and so you pass through safely. On getting to the Hammer and Tongs, though, I'm assuming you pull up outside. It's got a little mooring space that just about can squeeze you in.
Yep.
So I'm approaching the Hammer and Tongs, and this would be, say, about mid-afternoon by now. You head up onto the deck, and as far as you know, Boyce isn't there yet.
Well, may as well get a wee drink in whilst we're waiting for the young fella.
Okay. So are all of you going to head into the tavern?
Yes, my innocence is fading with every moment.
Immediately as you head in, you're hit with a smell of urine, possibly other things, and of course the smell of stale beer and wine and so on. It's not particularly pleasant, but after a few minutes you get used to it. You see a single man drinking by himself. Apart from that, it's a pretty dead pub, and there are maybe 6 or 7 tables. It's a pretty small place. The barkeep is looking extremely bored, and as you go in, he says to you, "Oh, are you meeting up with Bartov here? If so, I can leave you alone if you like."
Oh, Bartov, you say? Well, it'd be my honour to get a drink in for the gentleman, if you wouldn't mind, and I'll order us all a drink and one for Bartov as well.
Okay. He very hastily slaps together a few pints, slams them down. They don't look like particularly appetizing cups of grog, but I'm assuming you take them anyway.
Yep.
They're also extremely cheap.
That's what I like to hear.
Bartov is sitting with hunched shoulders, clutching his drink, not really taking anything from it, though. Maybe the odd sip.
I'll have a wander over and say, excuse me, do I have the pleasure of speaking to Mr. Bartov?
Bartolf, actually, but
Oh, my apologies.
that doesn't matter at all. Who are you exactly, and how? Well, actually, I can probably guess how you know of me. And he sits up, broad-shouldered.
Well, yeah. So obviously, I have heard of your somewhat considerable reputation. I just thought, whilst I was in here and having bumped into you, I'd perhaps be in, since I'm leaving this fair city shortly. I thought perhaps I might be in a position to do you a good turn on my way out.
I see. And your band of merry men here, what part do they play in all of this?
Oh, no, it's nothing like that. We're just on our way out of the city, thought we'd stop in, have a quick drink, and I just happened to recognise you, and I thought to myself, it's only the other day that someone of my acquaintance mentioned that he was hoping to do a little bit of business with yourself. I don't know whether that's already taken place, but thought I'd mention it just in case it had any trouble tracking you down.
I don't mean to be rude, Mr. What did you say your name was?
I didn't. My name is Silas.
I don't mean to be rude, but only certain types of people even dream of coming into this pub. I didn't think a priest would venture here. Or perhaps he has come to cure me of my ills.
I think he's having somewhat of a downward slump at the minute, so I shouldn't rely on that.
Yes, understandable. All that chastity they have to take, I don't blame them, letting themselves go every so often.
Well, I wouldn't know anything about that, but as I was saying, and I'll sort of move a bit closer so I can lower my voice and he'll still hear me. An acquaintance of mine by the name of Pericles was hoping to do a little bit of business with you, hoping to use your considerable knowledge of antiquities and rare items to have you identify the authenticity of something for him.
Ah, Pericles. And how is the old timer?
Well, he was all right last time I saw him. I find myself needing to get out of the city a bit lively. I'm sure a man as wise in the ways of the world as yourself can understand. So I either need to send a message to him on my way out. So if you could take a message to him, I'd be very grateful. And obviously you can get yourself a bit of a business into the bargain. Everyone's happy.
I see where you're coming from. And what would the message be?
I would just like you to let him know that unfortunately I'm going to have to be leaving this fair city for the foreseeable future due to some issues with the local constabulary. But I'm not entirely sure how long I shall be away for, but I shall endeavour to get back in touch with him when and if I do return to this fair city. If you'll please pass on my regrets that we're not able to do business in the near future.
Are you sure it's the local constabulary you've angered and not Pericles himself?
I'm quite sure he was most genial the last time I spoke to him.
And what business was it that he wants to share with me that he hasn't bothered to do so yet?
Well, he has, from what he was saying to me, he has a small item that I believe is made out of Jade that he is hoping to authenticate.
Jade, eh? Do you mind if I take a little look?
I haven't got it with me. He's got it.
Ah, I see.
Like I say, he just mentioned in passing that he could, that he wanted to get it authenticated, and your name floated to the surface as someone who might have that particular skill set.
Yeah, I understand. He wants me to see how valuable it is.
Now you're getting it.
Yes. Something that I tend to do more of nowadays. Unfortunately, most of my friends who I used to gamble with are not really friends anymore, if you get my drift. I can sometimes get onto a couple of gullible tourists, mostly rich ones, but apart from that, my gambling work is out of the window, shall we say.
Well, you don't have to talk to me about things being out of the window. Like I say, I'm having to leave town a bit sharpish, but these things are sent to trials and all that.
So what exactly have you done, if you don't mind me asking?
We do.
Okay, well,
What we mean is
I'm just a bit curious.
it's probably safer for yourself if you don't know. Then you're liable to find yourself in less trouble. And since you're possibly going to be doing me a favour by taking this message, I wouldn't want to see you get in any undue trouble.
I see. Mum's the word.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'd better get off to him. Although, actually, maybe I won't finish this. It's a bit disgusting, he says in earshot of the bartender. Well, it's a pleasure to have met you, Silas. I hope I will see you again at some point. Maybe we can eventually do business together. I see you are a man of the same trade.
Well, thank you very much. Here's open.
Have a safe journey on the rivers. You'll need it.
Well, thank you. We've just got to wait and meet someone here, and hopefully then we'll be on our way. And
am I allowed to ask who you're meeting, or is that secret as well?
Just a person who I happen to have made the acquaintance of, who I was going to see whether they fancied some regular employment myself. I sent him a message. I'm just waiting for the message bearer to return. If they don't decide to take my offer, that's fine as well. Hoping they will see the wisdom in my offer, though. But you can never tell with these things.
Well then, I think our conversation is over. We should probably head our separate ways.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
Take care, Silas, and to your your crew members.
Oh no, they're not my crew. I'm just a passenger. This is our captain, and I'll gesture at him. Gil. I'm sure he can introduce himself if he wishes better than I could, but like I say, I'm just a humble passenger.
How silly of me! I didn't realise that a man with such brash attire was here. But of course, that is the captain now. I realise. How silly of me.
As he looks over, I'm like, 2 gulps deep into this grog, which Gil doesn't seem to mind.
So Bartolf decides to leave the rest of his pint and get up and leave.
I don't suppose it would be too much to ask if they sell wine.
Do you ask this aloud?
Yes.
Okay. The barkeep gets up off his stool and gives a big huff and opens a door behind the bar and heads into the darkness and slams it shut. A couple of minutes later, he resurfaces with a barrel that he hauls up, and he says, "Well, we have this, if you really want it."
Perhaps a small snifter, just to taste, just to see.
A small sniff it is, priest. He gets out a glass, takes a look at it, realizes how dirty it is, and licks his finger onto a cloth and starts rubbing it. And then he draws out a little bit of the wine. It's a very nice red colour, although when he gives it to you, you realize there are little bits swimming around in it.
You know, you could
Drink
fit
up
more
then,
wine in that
down
in a
the
hobby.
hatch.
It seems to have been a very good vintage. Maybe. One time.
At that
I
point,
took a
you
small
hear.
sip.
Okay, it's got a pretty disgusting aftertaste, but the initial taste is all right.
I think there's bits of the wine barrel I think there's bits of the wine barrel in your goblet there.
Yes, I believe the term is corked.
At that point, you hear a
Absolutely.
tapping on the window, and you see Boyce waving at you and gesturing for you to come outside.
Let's get back to the ship.
I'll head outside. I'm hoping my rat out there with him.
Finish my grog.
Okay, are you going to finish your wine, Galen?
I make the excuse that there's the person we're waiting for. Thank you very much. And head out the door.
I go too. This place is stinky. Sticky.
Okay. You're greeted with a slightly nicer smell outside, if you can call seagulls and a dirty river a nice smell. But there you go, better than inside. And
It's all
A nicer smell. It's all relative.
you see Boyce with Basil on his palm, and he says, "I have news."
Oh, what is it then, boys? Big lad.
There's been a bit of word. It might just be a rumor, but I hear it from good authority that the fox may have been spotted escaping Royal Lendal last night.
Right. Well, do your resources tell you in which direction he was seen escaping from Royal?
Let me have a quick think. If I try to remember, it's that way. It seemed he headed out of the southwest gate, Silas, or possibly the south one.
Well, it's lovely that as it so happened, we were just thinking of taking a jaunt to the south aboard Captain Gill's ever so fine boat. The reason I sent you that message is I was hoping that you'd consider accompanying us on this journey. You know, pick up a bit of political experience and all that.
Going with you? But where are you going?
Well, I'm hoping that if our I was hoping, Captain Gill, if you don't mind, since we're going south anyway, perhaps we might still be able to claim that money for finding out more about the fox. After all, we are going south anyway.
Of course, if there's a business opportunity, why would we be fools to pass it up without great cause?
Indeed, I can see you are a wise man of my own heart, Captain Gill. And I was hoping that young Boyce here might agree to come with us. After all, he's done me a few good turns. I'd be quite happy to train the lad myself, get a bit of practical experience, and it would be someone. It would be some accompaniment for someone near her own age.
Yes, boy, we'd like for you to join us.
Well, I'm very taken aback by this, but I need to send Pericles a message. When are you going to be back here?
Well, I'm sure we'll be returning as soon as we've found out the necessary information about the fox. However long
Ah,
that may take.
hopefully not too long. Well, that. Oh, I don't know. I've never left the city before. And
Indeed.
suddenly, you turning up, it's turned my world upside down.
Many
Oh,
people live their whole lives never truly leaving the city, and you have an opportunity to start at a young age.
That's
well
true.
then.
Young boys, you don't want to find yourself getting to my advanced age. After all, I did a lot of travelling in my youth, and then settled down when older. There's plenty of time for settling down later. But you don't want to find yourself my age and suddenly think, oh, well, I've spent all my life at same like 3 or 4 streets. You want to get out there and travel and see the world while you've still got opportunity. And this opportunity is landing right here in your lap right now.
Will we be going to lots of big cities with lots of rich people?
Knowing Captain Gill, I'm sure that we'll be enjoying the sights and sounds of many different habitations.
I like it. When are we going?
Well, we've been waiting for you.
Oh, well, in that case, he starts marching gleefully towards the boat.
Let us be off.
I'll suppress a smirk and go, right, as everyone heard the captain, let's get going.
Great, we're a floating crash now.
We are now floating. So you cast off, and you eventually get out of the city, start leaving the outskirts of the houses, and then finally the large wall of Royal Lendal behind you. And the journey south is quite smooth. But as it gets dark, you realise that you haven't really come to any particularly significant settlements of any kind. You will probably have to camp out on the ship.
Okay. Can I make a world lore roll to see if I have any idea what the next main settlement is liable to be? So
Yeah, go ahead.
Continue the same direction we're going. Okay. I have no idea what the next settlement is.
No, unfortunately, you think you have the name in your head, but you can't recall it.
Can I have a go?
I blame that grog from that heaven.
Yeah, sure, Johan, you can do it as well.
Well, at least you know that you don't know. That is something.
And
Oh, I know
anybody
that.
else
That is true.
who wishes to have a go?
Like I said, I know it. I've actually been there.
No, but you also got a double 6,
Uh,
which means you don't know either.
I think you've also had some of that. I think we've also had some of that. Yeah, I think we've also had some of that G-grog like in that,
okay, I thought
in
I
that
was
tavern.
playing well.
But I rolled exactly my skill and world law.
Okay. In that case, Sophie, you do know that there is a town nearby, but it will be at least a day's certainly a day's walk. You don't know how long that will take sailing.
Yeah. If we follow this coastline, there should be a town, but like I said, I don't travel by boat very often, so I couldn't tell you how long it would be.
Well, I think we can assume that whatever town we do come upon, we can assume that if the fox is not still there, that at least he he or his vessel made a stop in there, and we can implore the local folk and see if we can't find out anything else about it.
Can we at least agree whenever we do get to wherever this town that we're going that we're not going to fight any bears when we're there?
Well, last time we fought a bear, we each
Or-
got 500 gold pieces.
I make
I'll-
promises.
I think that sort of outweighs the...
You didn't get punched by the bear. I did. So if you lot want to go about seeking to fight bears and liberate them from their keepers, then so be it.
I don't fight animals.
I'm look. You only take bets on people fighting animals, right?
Somebody's got to make money somehow.
I would implore you, gentlemen, that perhaps discretion would be the better part of valor here.
Look at me, I'm the soul of discretion.
I look upon you, Silas, and I believe you implicitly.
Is Silas still jingling about when he walks, or have you found a spot on the ship to call your own that you stored all your illicit goods?
I left them in the secret compartment. I went to. I took just the Jade thing with me when I went to in case I got robbed on the way.
Right.
But yeah, but now you mention it, I should be looking forward to retrieving my shinies, and they will no prove handy should we need to purchase any provisions or such things.
Mm.
Yes, they will.
You know, bit of trading, bit of this and that. You know, bit of barter.
Yep.
You head down the river a little bit further, but by this time, night has fallen, and you're going to need to stop somewhere. Luckily, though, you come across a small riverside tavern, originally named the Riverside, and you notice that the lights are on. You think that it may still be open, although by this time it'll be quite late.
So, Captain, are we planning to actually sleep on a boat and just like moor up nearby? Are we gonna keep in the tavern or what?
Well, I suppose that's really on an individual basis. We'll spend the night here. I don't have any particular reason to go in the tavern, although I suppose it wouldn't harm. There's no harm in it. Perhaps they could give us some information on any boats that have passed by the day before.
There is that.
Well, how about this for an idea then? We in the tavern, a couple of drinks. You can like rotate your crew a bit. They can get like time on shore or whatever you call it, and then we can find out what we need to find out. Get back on the ship. Then if we do need to, I'm not saying we will, but on the off chance we do have to leave this area a little bit lively, we'll all be by the ship and we'll be on it in the evening.
Sounds like a good plan.
I promise I will not shoot anybody unless they have to be shot.
Hey, I've had no problems with anyone you have chosen to shot, Johan.
Anyone that breaks any part of my ship can be shot. Yes.
So,
Far as I'm concerned, any man who needs an armed squadron of city guard to apprehend one child deserves all they get.
Well, they certainly deserve.
Drinks and waiting.
so you guys are going to moor up the boat and head into the tavern, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. So as you step off the boat and head round to the front door, you see a man in a large trench coat, kind of half sprawled on the side of the steps, with a small bottle of probably strong liquor in his hand, and he is crying. He seems very, very upset.
What troubles you, my son?
Hmm.
He looks to be maybe in his 30s, short, well-cut hair. And as you get closer as well, you see under his coat, he's wearing what looks like quite wealthy-looking refinery. And he says to you, it's very hard to say this, and I don't want to cause any trouble, but in fact, let me show you. He shoves a scrawled up piece of note into one of your hands and says, I've just found out that my sister has died, so I'm traveling to Royal Lendal to make amends.
I look at the scrap of paper.
Continue into the bar.
The letter is very hastily scrawled out. You can barely read it, but from what you can gather, it is saying, "You are needed in Lendal. Sylvia is dead. They think it's suicide."
Sylvia. No, I'm sorry your sister died.
Come, my compatriots and I are entering this abode. Come, sit with us. Tell us your troubles.
All right, so he eventually gets up and heads in with you and takes another swig from this small bottle. And he says to it. Again, I don't want to trouble you with this, and I might lead you into something terrible, but you seem like good people, and she's just died, so... But from what I can gather here, it wasn't simply just natural. I think she might have been murdered.
As they headed into the bar, I'll see if I could, with this person, I want to see if I can hang a bit. So put my hand on Gil, indicate for him to just sort of slow down a bit. And as we sort of fall back, the main crowd, I'm just going to lean over to him and go, "Want Sylvia the name of that Vixen woman?"
Sorry, who are you saying that to?
He's saying
I'm
it
saying
to
that
Gil.
to Gil.
It seems like that would be the logical thing.
Come,
What's your
my son, you are most troubled. Come, sit.
what's your name, mister?
My name is Robert Hoffman, brother of Sylvia Hoffman. And from what I can gather as well, you seem to know her as the Vixen. And I'm going to leave it there, since you've run a little bit over.
Thank you. Woo. Thank you very much.
How did he know?
Thanks for watching, everyone.
I'm just writing that down.
Good.
Brother of Vixen.
Thanks
Robert
everybody
Hoffman.
for joining us again. Should you have watched this